Hi, I'm Roz and I'm the owner of So Much Fun. I have been sewing since the age of 6. It was my best subject at school and I followed through and studied at London College of Fashion. I've now had at least 30 years experience in the clothing industry and I've now decided to open my own shop to share my knowledge and enthusiasm for sewing and all my designs. I'm going to show you about bias binding, which is a great trick in the book about neatening off edges of garments or cushions or whatever you want to make. A bias is actually where the fabric is at its most stretchy. So normally on a woven cloth like this one, it's quite firm. If I pull it from left to right, it's quite firm. If I pull it up and down, it's quite firm. But if I pull it at 45 degrees like this, you can see that it starts to stretch. So when we make bias binding, we actually cut it along the 45 degree angle that's called the bias. Now mostly we will use ready-made bias, which is already cut on that angle and already folded in, ready for us to sew on. But you can always cut your own and fold your own. What I want to do is to show you how I'm going to neaten this raw edge with the bias binding. Firstly, I'm going to line up my two raw edges of the bias binding and my fabric, and I'm going to stitch with straight stitch along that fold. Now you'll see that I'm not using pins, but that's because I've been sewing for a very long time. But it might be you are much happier by pinning some of your binding in place first. So I'm literally going to just stitch nice and straight down my fold. Again, I am using a green thread so you can see where I'm sewing, but probably I would be stitching it exactly in the same colour thread as my bias binding. So because it's got the iron fold already, it immediately folds over nicely and evenly over that edge, and I fold it right over the top, and then again I'm going to sew all the way down nice and neatly on this edge, nice and straight though, because you will see this line. So there you have it, a really nicely bound edge, neatened edge to your fabric.